Hi everyone and welcome to today's podcast. Just a reminder that the information and tips and exercises shared here is done at your own risk and listening discretion is advised. Today I would like to talk to you about habits and habit formation. I think during this lockdown you will find that this is the time where this is really something at the forefront. You will find yourself doing things that you never had the luxury to do, and you will find yourself doing things that you feel you've had the luxury to do. So it goes both ways. So today I would like to touch upon new habits formation. So starting something new, learning a new habit, and changing existing habits that you feel is not up to standard, is not up to par. In other words, how do we determine whether something is negative or positive? Well, let's not say yes, negative, right? But how do we know if something is beneficial for us or not? Firstly, look whether it is harmful. Is it helpful or not? Is it positively contributing to your life or hindering your life, preventing you from doing what you should be doing or what you feel is optimal for you to do? So that is your little checklist that you can use to figure out what you can change. Now, I don't know about you, but personally, I think there's a lot of things I can improve about myself, and I'm learning a lot of new things every day. So my checklist of habit change or patterns of behavior I would like to change will probably be long. It's almost like a little shopping list that I can make. But it is important, with that being said, even if your list is as long as mine, it is important to take it slow. Don't get overboard. I know it can be exciting to do something new and to try something new, and you would like to throw yourself into it. If you're passionate like I am, you would like to throw your whole time and energy into it, but it needs to stick. That is the main thing. With habits, it needs to stick, and it's not going to stick if you start with high energy too fast and you cannot maintain that high level of energy and enthusiasm throughout your life, because this is lifestyle changes that we would like to do. New habits that we would like to incorporate into future behavior, which is long-term changes, not short-term. So not just little things you are changing for lockdown. I think this is something that we're going to do that you can continue even when the lockdown is lifted. You can even follow through with this. And I believe in creation, so I feel that in difficult or trying times, people should try to create and do new things and learn new things. Then you have something to show for the trying times that you went through, whatever that may be. I like to have something to show for my trouble or for the trouble I went through, and that is being proactive. All right, so let's just quickly talk about habits, how it works. So a habit has 3 components. The first component is a cue or a trigger. In other words, something that triggers a certain response or behavior. The second thing is the behavior itself. And the third thing is the reward received from doing that particular behavior. Remember, a reward can lead to a craving, because your brain, when your pleasure centers in your brain is activated, they tend to want more of that because it feels good and you enjoy it. So that can lead to craving, that's where the sad side of habits come in, can lead ultimately to dependency and to addiction. So let's just be careful when it comes to habit formation, that we don't fall into traps. And some of us, me included, I've fallen into a lot of traps before with behavior. And the thing is, the good news is we can change that. We can change our neural pathways in our brain. We can literally change our brain chemistry by forming new patterns of behavior. So there's hope. Don't worry. We can always change. As long as you are alive and you are here listening to me, you can change. You can do something new. Right, so knowing how habits work, it becomes an automatic thing. It becomes, I can explain it like the following. When you learn how to drive a car, new habit, you panic and you look at all the little buttons and things and you're like, oh my word, there's so many things, and you're driving 40, but it feels like you're driving 120 kilometers, and you're actually driving a slow, like they would say, driving Miss Daisy or granny speed, but it feels like you're doing everything fast because you're focusing on all of these little buttons and things all at once. However, once you've learned how to drive, you don't even think of what you are doing. A lot of the times you'll find yourself driving home from work and you get home and you're like, you don't even remember how you got there. So because you're on autopilot, you're doing it automatically. It's a habit, it's a behavior. It's, if you take the same road home every day, it becomes an automatic behavior. And the thing is, with that automatic behavior, it becomes easier to improve on a behavior when you do that. So once you know how to drive, you can put on the radio and listen to music. That's why people get a little bit overconfident when they drive, because then they start using their phones, and then they don't realize that that's actually a trap that they're leading themselves into, because you cannot possibly focus on driving that car and obeying the road rules and driving properly while operating a phone, which is a completely different device, which you cannot integrate with driving a car. But that is something that we can discuss maybe on a different podcast, on how concentration works and how you cannot concentrate on those two different systems of functioning, or two different systems of operation. Okay, so let's get back. So repetitive behavior. So repeating. That is what my music teacher used to tell me, is you have to repeat. You have to be repetitive. Practice, repeat. So when you start something, you need to keep at it. You need to find a routine. So, for example, let's say your new habit that you would like to do is you would like to learn a new recipe. So you need to pick a day, like say you want to do a new recipe on a Wednesday. Every Wednesday you want to learn a new recipe. Then you set aside a time for following through with that recipe. If you want to read a new book that you've always wanted to read but never had the time to read, that could be a new habit, a new activity for you to do. And you can follow through with this once the lockdown is lifted. You can say every week you challenge yourself to finish a book. And then you pick your book and you pick your time and you set aside maybe an hour every day to read. And that will take this will also help with the information overload if you decide to read. So that is one thing, and you make it a habit. So that's for learning new things. Or attempting a new project. You can always make it short term. If you feel you don't want to embark on new things now, you can maybe during the lockdown learn a task, learn how to knit or something, or just do a hobby, do a little project, anything that you can think of. And I think reading is the most beneficial, and I enjoy reading and I enjoy learning new things, and I also enjoy learning new skills. And with a new habit, maybe you would like to be more mindful of something in your life. I think you would like to be, like with your kids, you can teach them mindfulness in terms of forming new habits like please and thank you, and help them with that. Maybe you would like to spend more time with someone special in your life, and then you set aside, and that's your new habit. Okay, so you need to think of your own unique situation and what you can do. I'm sure you already have an idea of a new habit that you can start doing. Remember to make it a routine and to set time and a set day, and baby steps, little by little. One step, 1 minute, 1 moment at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. So that will be your first homework assignment. So try and do this, and then every week you can spice it up or add to it. Do a self-check and check yourself on this and see how it is. If you're a little bit struggling with it, reinforce the behavior. Tell yourself, listen, I must do my little thing. My project, my new habit, I committed to this, I need to do it. And then you do it. Just do it. Like the Nike slogan, just do it. So the second thing is changing old habits. Now, the saying old habits die hard is really, it's the truth. It's very difficult, and you will fail. Your probability of failing is higher than your probability of succeeding. Not trying to be bleak. Why is that? Because that neural pathway has been established in your brain. So we're busy changing it. So you need to be persistent. That's the only way of changing old habits, old things. So you need to do over and over. You need to reinforce, and you're going to become mindful. Just like when you learned how to drive a car, say you've been doing it wrong. Say you've been revving the car too high, so you need to change at a different time. You need to switch gears. But you need to be mindful of that. You can't just drive the way you used to. It's the same with, say for instance, it can be anything that you feel that you need to improve on, that you've been doing wrong, or that you have been doing incorrectly. You need to change it. So, say for example, we take something that I struggle with as well, is with food. So say you are used to lying on the couch and eating. The thing is, if you have bad eating habits, you need to change a little thing, a little bit at a time. And it's difficult. Food addiction and food issues, that's an extremely difficult thing to change. However, one thing, one little step at a time. So do it week by week. Say, this week I'm going to cut out, say, physical drinks. That's my goal. And you maintain it. That is now off the table. Like my mom would say in Afrikaans, punt, slush, klaar. It's done. It's off the table. You cut it out. And you see how it goes. And then next week, if it's successful, you cut another thing out. And that's also off the table. And so you go on. And you have to replace that. No? You can't just cut stuff out and not replace it. So say, for instance, you cut your physical drinks out. Replace it with a healthy alternative. See if you can. I enjoy drinking water. If you struggle drinking water, flavored waters is not really that beneficial, but maybe put a lemon in the water or something. See what you can do to replace the behavior. Don't just take something away and not replace it. That's a recipe for disaster. So you need to replace. If you remove an old behavior, you need to replace it with a new behavior so that you can retrain your brain. It doesn't help you delete a program, say off your computer, to do something, but now you can't do what you want to do because you deleted it and you didn't replace let's say you want to use a different app. You don't want to, you say you want to use a different social media app. So you can't just delete it and then not replace it and expect the result to be the same or to achieve what you want to achieve. That's silly. So always replace and repeat, and have a routine. Just like brushing your teeth and doing whatever little ritual it is you do before you go to sleep. So that is your 2 homework assignments. So I look forward to hearing what habits you would like to change, and what new behaviors you'd like to learn, and what new things, what new habits, what new positive things you want to add to your life. and I'll see you in the next podcast. Please reach out and let me know which new habits you have adopted. Bye.